Hey, welcome to Bruce's Retirement Channel. So this is going to be kind of a two-part. I'm going to talk a little bit about a health update and being retired now with cancer. And then I thought we'd kind of switch gears, kind of talk about so far the financial side of being retired and being unwell. Because America is not a cheap place to be sick by any stretch of the imagination. First, let me share with you a cancer update. Okay, so I was diagnosed officially on November the 18th with stage 2B cancer of the left lower lobe of my lung. And I meet with an oncologist on the 19th of December. And there's a lot of questions that we have that we're going to try to get answers for. You know, what kind of treatment plan? Because apparently the pulmonologist met with the oncologist, and they have like a team that they take each case and kind of figure out a treatment plan. And so I'm going to hear what my treatment plan is then. Now, as far as, you know, the cost of all this, hopefully everything will be covered by my Medicare and my supplement. And the meds, any meds should be Part B or Medicare, hopefully. That'll also be covered, the medications. And there's a wide range of, obviously a whole lot more treatments available today than there was even just a decade ago. So I think with the right treatment plan that I can probably beat this thing. Am I feeling anything from cancer, any symptoms? The only thing that I recall was a few times I had just a little bit appeared to be blood in my mucus. But other than that, no. Now, I unfortunately, after the way they diagnosed the cancer was they used a robot to go into my lung and do a biopsy. It was very cool technology, non-invasive, and so that was great. And then they took a sample and they had a pathologist right there to run some tests. Unfortunately, a few days after the biopsy, I came down sick with bronchitis. And it's been a rough road the last 10 days. It's just been awful. In fact, a week ago last Friday, I was in the ER, could not breathe. I mean, I was afraid that something to do with the biopsy perhaps had caused pneumothorax, which is kind of deflating of the lung. And no, that wasn't it. It was just a combination of the biopsy and the weather change here in the Midwest that really done it in. So I've been battling bronchitis. I think I'm on the mend. I have days where I feel better than others. It takes several weeks to do that, and compound the fact that I have emphysema. And yes, I'll just talk about my history of smoking just briefly. Yes, I started smoking when I was a young boy. I was around cigarettes my whole life. My parents, their friends, everybody smoked. All my friends smoked. It was very common. We were advertised to. You couldn't go anywhere without being around secondhand cigarette smoke, whether it was restaurants, movie theaters, wherever, shopping centers, the courthouse. Even doctors smoked back then. And once you get hooked on those, some people just are hooked worse than others, and they struggle to quit, and they just can't. I was one of those people. And that's probably what caused it. However, I also grew up right next door to a big steel mill. I mean, literally like 2 blocks from my house. And at daytime, it would look like midnight. It would be so black from all the smoke and pollution pumped out by this mill. And in fact, they polluted so much, you weren't allowed to get into the Wildcat Creek. I'm from Kokomo, Indiana. You wasn't allowed to get into that because it was too toxic as a kid to play in. The groundwater was full of PCBs from the steel mill. I mean, they just polluted, and a lot of people ended up with cancers and getting very sick that lived in that area. So, I'm making this video for this reason. If you are able to retire, if you are able to come up with a plan that you can pay your bills and enjoy yourself a little bit, don't wait, don't hesitate. Because here's the thing. if my wife and I, well, I should say my wife and I, when we were younger, we had a business, we sold it, and we went on a wonderful trip all over the southwest of the country, the out west. And for months, we traveled around in an RV and we had a ball. If we had waited till now to retire, that would never have happened. It would not have happened. Now, I understand you got to have an income, and being sick in the United States is not easy, even with great health care coverage insurance. It's still not financially easy on people. And now that I've been retired, going on this, we're starting the 6th month of retirement, I have found myself mostly occupying myself if I'm not going on doctor's visits, because my wife is also not well. She's got a chronic health condition. So we both have chronic health conditions now. We can't really travel like we hoped we would have. But that's life, and we're dealing with that. We're accepting that we have limitations, but we're going to try to make the most of those limitations that we can. We are going to, once we get through some of the cancer treatments and all that, there's some things that we can do, and we're going to try to enjoy life to the absolute fullest that we can. Of course, money plays a part in that. And it's been insanely difficult to come up with a budget and stay within that budget, because it seems like every month there's some thing that pops up that you got to pay for, some surprise you really weren't anticipating. Now, for my wife and I, right now, looking at our income, about a third of our income pays premiums for insurance. All right? And I'm talking about strictly health coverage. Between the cost of our 2 supplements, one for me, one for her, the Medicare Part B premiums that you have, and then your deductibles and copays for your Part D medications, it's close to $1,000 a month between the two of us. All right? And I see that getting no cheaper down the future. So we can just take $1,000 and say, this is going to go for medical costs. All right? And that's not including a visit to the dentist that we've got coming up this month. They charge like $150 a piece to clean your teeth. But you got to do it because you don't want dental issues. That's not covered by Medicare, by the way. You'd be surprised what's not covered. Vision, no. You get cataract surgery, yes, that was covered. But like routine eye exams and glasses, nope, not covered. Dental procedures, not covered. So that's in addition to the insurance premiums and deductibles and copays. It's not that great. That's what I'm trying to say. Medicare is not that great. Social Security income, many of us rely on all of it, or at least some of it, to pay our bills. Me and my wife were no different. And, we got like a 2.5% raise coming next year. But they raised the Part B premium by $10. Now it's going to be $185. All right? Our insurance, our supplements, hers went up like 20-some%, 30%. Everything's going up 15, 20, 30%. But our pay, 2.5%. You show me where inflation was just 2.5%. In 2024. I don't know what tool, they're not using the right index for our seniors that are retired for their cost of living, because we have some different expenses. We have more healthcare related expenses than younger folks have. And so our Social Security income should reflect those increases in price. So getting acclimated to all that, it makes it kind of difficult to budget. But we're doing great. We're actually ahead. We've not had to touch our savings in the last 6 months. We've actually not only paid our bills, but we've also been able to put just a little bit more back into savings. So we hope that trend continues in 2025. So overall message is, if you're thinking about retirement and you can financially make it work, don't wait. don't wait, because tomorrow is not promised to anybody. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.